caught everywhere. DynCorp, Halliburton, Chicago Tribune, giant child kidnapping. The UN admitted that from the year 2000, 2005, over 1 million women and children were trafficked out of Central Europe alone. Well, yeah, the UN should know when they go in to help a country, their main business is going and press ganging women, children. They'll go in, machine gun the men, line them up just like the Romans rolling into Gaul or Germania.
Which forces are making up these?
The Belgians are mainly a pedophile brigade within the UN. They've got a whole bunch of other countries that make up.
I reckon the Belgians would say you're talking.
Hey,
cat.
I just bet you £1 million, brother, and I mean it.
1 million? You would not be able to prove that to me. You can send me to a Googled website, which is probably your own website. You wouldn't be able to Google it. You wouldn't be able to prove it to me, Alex. You probably would. You probably would go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com. It's been at the forefront of exposing it, but there'd be dozens of hyperlinks to AP, BBC, everywhere. Listen, just do what I told you. Listen, if I find that on the BBC, I'll give you £1 million.
Just search UN caught running sex traffic. UN caught running white slavery. Search it! I just told you Anwar al-Awlaki secretly hanging out the Pentagon, confirmed, admitted. Come on! Pull the trigger! Pull the trigger!
Elizabeth, thank you for that. Great to have you on. Let's take another... There goes Elizabeth. Let's take another call from Daniel, who's near Watford. Daniel.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What would you like to say?
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to cover a few points. I mean, I've obviously been listening for the last hour or so, and I strongly disagree with quite a few of the things you've said. Now, I mean, just to cover...
That I've said or Alex has said?
Alex has said.
Okay.
Alex said. What you've said, and neither here nor there. So, I mean, Alex, really, the question I want to ask you is, how can you possibly say that any of this mission to do with killing Osama bin Laden was set up in any way? Now, I mean, you take the situation... I mean, you're laughing already. I mean, for example, take what the last guy that was on just said. I completely agree with him. Everything you ever say, and everyone that is like you, that is a conspiracy theorist, and I do categorize you in that
conspiracy theorist. You relish the word. You don't have any intellectual acumen, any gravitas. You just have a label, so you can, your mind can decide snobberishly to say that I don't have documentation.
Come on, fella. Let
me stop right there. Let me stop right there. What was the point you're saying? How can I say? Did you not hear me? May 25th, 2010, Washington Post, the CIA admits that they created fake bin Laden videos. So a group that has created fake videos before... We'll be right back, folks. We have now returned, and unfortunately we were unable to commandeer the transmission. Here is more of the hate speech.
You've said, yeah. So the fact that you and your friends have made a video and put it on YouTube, that makes it.
You're showing who the conspiracy theory is. I just gave you the date and what to search, Washington Post, and you just said it's going to be on YouTube. I just told you, buddy boy, my source is not YouTube. My source is what I just told you. And when I say Steve Pachinik was on or Hamid Gul was on, these are serious, well-known, respected people today agreeing with me.
Okay,
go ahead. Listen, you can't handle the truth. You can't handle real intellect and red blood. All you've got is shooting your mouth off with that cliched term. I'm not the king of conspiracy. I'm the king of reality.
Daniel, come back on that.
Alex,
in 30 seconds.
I told you, Washington Post. Listen to me. I bet you don't believe that Geraldo Rivera with the Marines admits they grow the opium.
Alex, let Dan respond to that.
In general society, there is a very small sect of people that would be classed...
You're a minority. We're the majority. Listen to your mind control garbage.
I would class you in an extremist group that would account for not
I need to be dealt with immediately. Listen to him. He don't believe the Queen loves us.
No, you are an extremist. You preach hate in a different way.
I'll need to be shut down under the EU Convention on Spreading Radicalism. Shut him up. Shut him up. I don't agree with him. He's giving me too many facts. It's scary. He's an extremist. famous. He's a minority. Oh, I'm a minority. That's why my YouTube videos have millions of views apiece, and 98% of people are voting that they like it. That's why I have millions of listeners. That's why I'm loved all over the world, because I'm a dangerous minority. You listen to me. Ideas are bulletproof, and you cannot stop us. Liberty is rising. The spirit of 1776 is indomitable, and you are a mind-controlled weasel who feels solace in joining the hive Borg of weak disinformation. You are not the intellectual. You are not the person to dictate to me what reality is. Do you understand me, boy? Do you understand me, boy?
Come on, Alex. Let Daniel come back.
Alex,
you are part of a minority. The Borg will absorb you. No one agrees with you, Alex. It's over, Alex.
The racist government MPs and everyone. There are small sects of people that instill.
They're all small sector people. Oh, they're all dangerous. Oh, we need to deal with them. Oh, yes, we need to shut them down immediately.
Which do exist, as much as you make a conspiracy theory out of it. These people exist, and they preach hate to a certain community, and you unsuccessfully are attempting to
you are part of a minority. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're unsuccessful. You just have sources on YouTube.
Alex,
he made no point. He said I'm defeated. He said I'm losing. I'm winning, and you know it, coward. You know it. Just because you say we're losing, you can feel your lies pouring out. You're losing.
We will find out about the Obama birth certificate.
You're losing. Liberty's rising.
Go away.
Liberty. Liberty!
With
cry havoc and let loose the dogs of InfoWar!
Our guest is Alex Jones. He's at Infowars.com. You can follow Alex on Twitter via that site. You can have a look at a whole array of stories, and you will know, if you didn't already, you do now, that Alex has, I think we can say, passionate opinions on things.
Hey!
Like, for example, the official version versus what maybe he sees as the real version. Here's White House Press Secretary Jay Carney.
There are sensitivities here in terms of the appropriateness of releasing photographs of Osama bin Laden and in the aftermath of this firefight, and we're making an evaluation about the need to do that. It could be inflammatory.
It could be inflammatory, Alex Jones. They don't want to scare folk with a dead corpse with its head shot out.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous. They're just busy getting everybody's appetite wet and fawning after they've already destroyed the body for all of their new fake video to be rolled out. But I want to respond to something because my guys were listening in the other room and you had me faded down for the local PSYOP guy to call in.
Well, in fairness, Alex, he did need to just come back.
I want to say something to what he said, okay? Number one, I'm letting it all hang out because people need to stop being put in little comfort boxes and not be the true passionate creatures we are for liberty. You yell and scream for a football game, people say, oh, that's normal, that's nice. You yell and scream about losing your freedom and about lies being crammed down your throat, and people say it's weird. So I'm here about being proud to be wild and to be informed. Now, listen, the reason I got unhinged with him is because he said, what's your proof? And I said, I gave him the date of where the CIA admits they've put out fake bin Laden videos before. And it's them telling the big CIA mouthpiece, Washington Post, that's their favorite paper, that information. He just laughed at it and said, you've got a YouTube video. And I said, no, you just heard me. I gave you a source. Then he said, you're little, you're nobody, nobody listens, you're a minority, you're inciting hate. These ideas that they use in Europe and more now in England to shut down free speech. And so I recognize the time.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Yes, I thought that we were able to commandeer the transmission, but unfortunately, there's still a First Amendment in the United States, but not for long. So I give you more of the redneck rabble from the Lone Star State, the filth of the world, Alex Jones. The United States was founded on July 4th, 1776, in resistance to the hegemonic, despotic, tyrannical rule of King George III and the abuse against the colonies. And most of the British Parliament was against going to war with their fellow Englishmen because the king was unpopular there as well. It was known that he was a German king, his father being brought over to rule England. These people could barely speak English. Nothing against Germans, but you don't see me going over to Germany to rule them. The very essence of July 4th and 1776 is resistance to the disgusting House of Windsor. They didn't get that name until around World War I, because before that they were known as the Saxe-Coburg-Gothas. Notice that we hear their names. Prince William. You never hear his last name, do you? The slave public, many of them in England, who support these people, don't even know their last names because they don't want you knowing their last names. 3 times in the last 3 years, the Parliament in Canada hasn't done what the Queen of England wants, so she suspended them, shut down the Parliament. Happened in the late 70s in Australia. This is a tyrannical group pushing eugenics, population reduction, all the carbon taxes. Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, another German royal prince, is a supporter of eugenics. His cousin, who was the prince married to the Queen of the Netherlands, unadmitted Nazi, unadmitted eugenicist. The point is, these are the most filthy, degenerate people you can imagine. She owns more than half of Canada, more than half the land in England, and then she's paid by the government for her palaces and all the rest of it. It's disgusting. And to watch U.S. television fawning, Fox, CNN, CBS, all of them, oh, it's so wonderful, no one in America can wait until next week, the way they're hyping it.
1 week until the royal wedding. This is exciting stuff. I mean, it's hard to, the energy is just palpable.
Young couples get married, they're just hoping that some bank will be nice enough to give them a mortgage.
Yeah.
These folks have a number of palaces to pick from.
NBC News is launching a free royal wedding app for the iPad.
This is truly a love story that captures everybody's attention.
This goes back to Edward Bernays 100 years ago, saying, look, to make politicians and royalty popular, we'll have Hollywood stars come to banquets and events with them. We'll have music stars. We'll have other people go there to basically make these elites be seen as celebrities themselves. You know why America was founded? Because under the imperial royal system in Europe and England, if you weren't part of the inside group who had basically the patronage of the crown, where they gave you land, houses, jobs, you couldn't even get a license to be a carpenter, a license to be a blacksmith, a license to brew beer, unless their local lords gave you the authorization. So it wasn't just that you had to pay outrageous taxes. You had to get their permission to even have a job, to have a profession. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the essence of globalism, is big mega corporations, many of which are owned and controlled by the German royal family that runs England and, of course, the Netherlands. The whole system they've set up and they promote is about this new global corporate system worldwide that, through government power, shuts down their competition and transfers the people's wealth through taxes to the offshore cartels. These people are parasites, they're disgusting, they're filthy, and if we want to reclaim the spirit of 1776, we should realize how abhorrent monarchy is in all of its forms. And that includes the UN and the new royalty under the unelected EU bureaucratic system, where over 80% of England's laws, even though they're not part of the EU, are made by EU bureaucrats. Please, everyone, remember the spirit of 1776. I know a lot of folks in England are saying they're going to go out and protest it. First, the government said you've got the day off slaves. You don't have to go to work on the big royal wedding coming up next week. And then the Republicans, that's a group that want to get rid of the monarchy in England, said we're going to protest in the streets. And the government said you're not allowed to protest. Meanwhile, they criticized Syria for banning protest. So anytime you see some mind-numb zombie talking about how exciting the wedding is or how they watched it, you're watching a bunch of twitly, inbred idiots that can't even dress themselves and have valets. And until just a few decades ago, they try to keep it quiet. They have people that wipe their butts for them, groom of the stool. Do you know the history of America? Do you know it started in resistance to this very usurping German family who aren't even British? Do you know that most of the English hate the royal family? Do you know they have a secret police system that basically threatens people that talk about getting rid of the monarchy? Do you know that Princess Diana on record told her butler and others that made a videotape